Driving around the city in my Benzo. Bad men looking for them rental. When we ride.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 podcast in Africa. I remain the one and only Toye, and today I have one of the most important Nigerians in South Africa. She's a woman of substance, and she has been able to thrive in a union filled with men. Now she's the president. Please let's welcome the president of the Nigerian Union, South Africa, Mrs. Doris Ikeri Sholari. Ma, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate your presence here. And I know we have a lot to talk about, and I know you will educate us and enlighten us. So let's start by, telling us a bit about yourself, your background, and maybe you can even give us a brief history of how the union, how the union started and how you became the president.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate you for the invitation. Like you rightly said, I'm Doris Ikeri Sholari. Originally from Abia State, eastern part of Nigeria, and was married to Olushola Ayotunde Sholari, an indigene of Shagam in Ogun State. We met at the University of Lagos, Akoka, #1 university in Nigeria. Don't mind me. My education and schooling in Unilag exposed me to a lot of things. I'm this person that I stand tall in the face of injustice. I always like to speak up for others. I cannot stand, disservice to people and cheating of my gender particularly. At some point, people view me as a feminist, but I am not a feminist. I'm this person that, irrespective of your gender, I just do not tolerate injustice at any level. So the crave for making things in order, because I do not like to complain. So I always want to be on the path where you are able to do something about a problem. So that is how the journey started. I was part of unionism, activism in the University of Lagos, starting from my first year in Jambite days, those days. For the first time, you'll have an executive from year 1. So I was actually appointed, and gradually I rose from the Assistant Secretary General of my department to the Vice President in my second year. And in my third year, I was holding 2 positions. I was the Sports Secretary of my hall, and then I was also an executive in my department. So I also had to run as the Assistant Secretary General of the University of Lagos Students Union also. So, and it was an eye-opening because I had a lot of activities going on, and at the same time I had to ensure that my academics was not suffering. So this gave me an opportunity to interact and meet people at different levels of leadership. And coincidentally, this was when the current president was the governor of Lagos State. So I happened to work with his wife, Oluremi Tinubu. Then she was the first lady of Lagos State. So I had opportunity to work with the Department of Women Affairs, the commissioners from Teju Phillips, and the mini commissioner for establishments, the commissioner for sports. In fact, the entire Alausa, I had access, and then we had different programs, especially women empowerment, because that was the wake of women empowerment then in the continent. So we had relationship even with students from University of South Africa. So the then Vice Chancellor was Professor Jelilio Motola. So I served under his regime. And so many things happened in the University of Lagos. So down to now, that crave and interest in justice, when we relocated to South Africa with my husband, we got involved in the community, doing business outside. And so even in my business, we're ensuring that we try our best to speak up for those who are indisposed, those who are less privileged, those who do not know how to go about getting justice, and then getting involved in the community as well. My experience in the union has given me another opportunity and space. I had a husband who, from the very first day, was very supportive of my person, my personality, and he gave me 101% support. He believed that in gender equality. He believed that irrespective of your gender, you have something to offer. He believed that the woman has a place in leadership. So that gave me the courage and the enthusiasm to be part of leadership, just to bring a change and make a difference in the community. So joining the union afforded me the opportunity of meeting with decision makers in the community. I am proud to say that I'm happy to be associated with Nigerian Union South Africa, because the presence of the union has made a whole lot of difference in the lives of Nigerians resident in South Africa. So many people who has gotten involved in one problem or the other, when they come to the union, they get help, they get support. We mediate and kind of assist the citizens via the missions, either at the Pretoria High Commission or at the consulate here in Johannesburg.
Wow. So
that is just a bit of the background about me. And not to forget, I also was a sports lover. I was a soccer player at the University of Lagos. We're the first set of those in Jegede Babes that was managed and owned by Princess Jegede then, when female soccer started.
So when you were playing soccer, were you a defender?
I was a striker. I played.
Striker.
Yes,
How
number
many
9.
How many goals did you score?
I scored, I can't count, but I will tell you that then, when I was in my 3rd year, when soccer started, especially at my hall of residence, newest hall then, the entire hall, in fact the school, especially all the guys, they are trooping down to newest hall, because why? They want to watch female soccer. And then I was called Sporty D, so that was my nickname, Sporty D. So
wow.
And that was actually where I met my husband, on the field of play. He was the referee officiating that match.
So your nickname is Sporty D.
Sporty D.
That's nice. You know, just when you were speaking now, I was just about to ask you, are you into activism? But then you said it yourself, you know. And before you became the president of the union, did you have to engage in any battle or something? Because, you know, most unions in Nigeria, they always fight hard. This one doesn't want to step down. This one, was it like that here? It was just like a vote, or you know?
You mean my experience at the university or here in South Africa?
In South Africa, I mean the union.
I didn't have to fight. Before I became the president of the Nigerian Union, I was the coordinator of Take It Back Movement South Africa, and our convener is Omoyele Shore, the presidential candidate of the AAC party.
Oh, wow.
So he was also an Akokite. And in fact, he graduated from my department, and the following year, I was enrolled in the same department as him without my knowledge. So along the line, I learned to know about him. And also when he noticed that, oh, an Akokite is here in South Africa. So that was how I was appointed and, you know, mandated to lead the TIB team here in South Africa
for his political party.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So yes, because when going back to antecedents and my activities back then in University of Lagos, because we did quite a lot of things, and during my regime new things were introduced to the union, and that is one I dropped my heart for Professor Jelili Omotola. He's a very distinguished VC that brought a lot of change to UNILAG. He introduced a lot of new things and brought innovations to the students. And he is this VC that believed that the students, the youth, have something to offer. And he gave us that opportunity. So he did empower us as student leaders.
Wow, that's great. I mean, we have our tool. I mean, our normal ritual here. We always make a toast, but since you don't feel like drinking today, we're just going to dive deep into it, if you don't mind, Mama. So, on the 24th of January, the union made a shocking statement and accused the Nigerian head of immigration in South Africa, Mr. Shuaibu Sule Odomo, of reckless corruption, passport hoarding, artificial scarcity, unnecessary queue, and then you called him a monumental national disgrace. Wow. And this is just 24th of January, which is a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very sure most people are not even aware of this, you know. So can you please tell us what was that all about?
Mr. Odoma Sule is the current head of immigration at the Nigerian consulate in Johannesburg.
Okay.
The first petition that greeted the office of the Consul General was written on the 21st of December 2023. Okay. Although we did not get a response immediately, we gave about a month. There was no response officially from the Consul General, although I was later contacted via WhatsApp when he tried to acknowledge the receipt. Because we didn't get any response, we sent a reminder again on I'm not sure about the dates, in January. So after 48 hours, when we didn't get a response, the committee sat and the executives agreed that we were going to embark on a warning strike so that the consulate understands that our concerns are very serious and must be taken with seriousness. So the point is that there has been countless complaints from the citizens, our citizens, compatriots here, about the difficulties they experience in the process of procuring Nigerian passports and the use of agents and other means to acquire passports. And at the end of the day, most of them still do not get their passport except when they are made to pay a lot of extra costs. And the average Nigerian on the streets here in South Africa is struggling. He's a hustler. He's still thinking about how to pay his rent, how to put food on the table. So the cries were too much. And then when we went to different provinces during interventions, community issues, we had reports from them complaining about the difficult. Some of them decided not to even apply because of the rigorous pressure they face when they apply for passport. So we had to go into the community to get more facts, and then we realized that these complaints were really genuine. And so when the Consul General invited us for a meeting, we decided to honor him, and this was the same date we actually wanted to stage the warning strike. But as a mark of respect, we decided to hear him out and hear what he has to say regarding our concerns. So on meeting with the CG, he explained his own side of the story and confirmed most of the allegations regarding the immigration head and the immigration section, because in that section there is gross corruption going on there.
And he actually admitted to it.
Sule is not yet, there's a committee that is handling that. Okay. So they are going to come up with, we have provided substantial evidence, and it's left for the committee to go on ahead with their investigation and come up with a recommendation.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, I have a couple of friends that actually having the same problem. And to be honest, 90% of Nigerians actually think the problem is coming from the South African government. I mean, the problem of this passport issue.
That's impossible. If you're talking about permits, South African
not like permit, because if you want to renew your passport, it takes a lot, and most people don't even know Kokoro Tinje for is inside the A4.
No, the problem is actually from the immigration section, because listening to the Consul General when we had the meeting, he explained how he faced, he put in a lot of measures to mitigate against these corrupt practices, starting from the gates. So the things he put in place, security cameras, all of these efforts were frustrated. And also the fact that there are some, the protection from Nigeria, Godfather. So it's actually militated against all his efforts to ensure that sanity is brought there. So the numerous complaints is what has made us, and the experience that we had, because also when we went to Bloemfontein and Kimberley for intervention, some of them did not get their passport. And when we tried to find out what are the reasons, we realized that there were some problems that were just created to delay these processes. You're talking about
one particular person.
Yes, different people, they just come up with, some of them are genuine concerns, but the percentage are very, very low. Someone who has a lost passport, the approval obviously has to come from Abuja. But now the concern is how long, what is the return time for this to be processed if people are actually doing their job? True. But they create unnecessary scarcity, deliberate delays. People become desperate because now their permits are about to expire. They need to renew their passports to be able to get their permits and all of that. So people become desperate and now have to go extra mile to get money and pay. And unfortunately, some of this, when they go for intervention, they approach this one and say, if you want your passport quick, pay XY amount. This is absolutely unacceptable. We cannot do this to our fellow citizens. The mission is there to alleviate the problems of Nigerians resident in South Africa. And that is what NUSA stands for. NUSA is here to protect the welfare and the interest of the Nigerians resident in South Africa while obeying the law of the land.
Wow, that's amazing. I was going to ask you what are the benefits of the union, but you can find that on the website. But there's one particular one I found there. It says, as a member of NUSA, you will receive an automatic SMS 6 months before your passport expires. We will support you in the renewal process. Can you please explain how that works? Like, is it free or is it eligible to members of the union only?
Once you are a registered member of the union, because we have processes for getting registered, as a Nigerian, you are naturally an automatic member of the union. But for you to be able to have access to benefits, you need to be a registered fee-paying member. And that you do via your ward. Because we have 9 provinces in South Africa. Each of the provinces have provincial chairperson and the executives, as well as wards under the province. And then we have the national at the top. So the wards are there where you do your registration. They are the closest to you. So you go to your nearest ward, you register. There are numbers, there are people who are in charge, executives that are there that look after the people. So once you are registered and you need any form of support, like the instance of the intervention, now Bloemfontein, they are already planning an intervention in conjunction with the consulate. Once we have up to 30 or more people, like 50 that needs passport, they come together and they pay the normal official fee for their passports. And once this is compiled and the monies are collated, then we get an approval date from the consulate. The immigration officials make a trip after the date has been confirmed. So on the day they arrive there, those Nigerians that are there under the supervision of the ESCOs, they get captured, because now the process for applying the passport has already commenced. So after capturing, it takes a certain period of time and the passports are ready, and then they receive their passport. So if you have gone through that process, it is our responsibility to communicate with you as to when your passport will be ready.
As a member.
Wow, and then aside from that, we have been having cases of attacks on some of our compatriots in different provinces. Maybe you have the case of police brutality, or even the community rising against you, and all sorts of intimidation, harassment, and any sorts of maybe abuse. So as the union, we move and go to such environments, seek to speak. We have an appointment with the station commander, with a meeting and all the top SAPS ESCOs and authorities there, and seek to find out why is such happening. And we need to point fingers, investigations need to be carried out, and people are brought to book. Because ordinarily, there is this stereotyping of Nigerians, which is absolutely wrong.
Sure.
You cannot, because of one bad apple, you destroy or you cut away an entire basket.
Sure.
It is unfair, because criminality has no nationality.
Exactly.
Once someone is a criminal, he or she must be investigated, prosecuted, and put away under the law. So the NUSA organization do not accommodate or support criminality, but the processes at which this is carried out must be followed.
Wow, I agree to that. So if he's found guilty, will he be suspended, or what exactly will be the punishment?
No, we allow the law enforcement to
so
do
it's
their
a criminal
job.
record, not a civil record, right?
It is a criminal record.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Oh wow. So I want to ask you, Ms. Doris, from the union's point of view, how would you describe our relationship with South Africa? The relationship between Nigerians and South Africa right now. How is it?
From the union or individual or governmental?
Not individual, from the union's point of view. How would you describe our relationship right now? Is it good, excellent, or bad?
I wouldn't want to give a specific description, in the sense that it is work in progress.
Okay.
Meaning that already, like I mentioned, there is a stereotyping of Nigeria. And this is a global problem. It's not peculiar to South Africa. But in South Africa particularly, it's like when the general saying, no Jews, no news. So here, no Nigeria, no news. Once it's a Nigerian, it is a headline. It captures attention. In fact, if a blogger wants to drive traffic, just talk about a Nigerian that has been arrested for one offense or the other. And unfortunately for us, any black man or woman assume or claim Nigeria as a nationality.
Wow. Because
they believe that the Nigerians are criminals and they do all sorts of criminal activities, which is very wrong and unacceptable. Hence, the law enforcement must ensure that they verify the status, the immigration status of such individual. They know the nationality and ensure that they do not mislead the public. So in terms of our relationship, some of them have this bias, while others who have actually interacted with the responsible and good citizens of Nigeria know and understand that we have more Nigerians that are responsible in different sectors. We have professionals that are contributing to the economic growth of South Africa.
Very true.
Many of them have hired locals in their company. I'm one of them. So in the private capacity and even in the workforce, talking about the medical sector now, you have Nigerians that are working day and night, even doing extra hours. Sometimes when the locals have babalas and they are not able to come to work, you find the foreigners, particularly Nigerians, because they like to work hard. So you see them at work, even on holidays, to ensure that they treat most of the patients, even if those that are in private practice. I have a number of doctor friends. Yes. Most of their patients are South Africans. And when you ask them, why are you not going to the clinic or why are you not going to the hospital? They tell you that no, they get the best of care from these Nigerian doctors. And even at the government hospital where some of these doctors are employed, you discover that the patients know the committed doctors that take their job seriously.
Wow.
So I would say it's work in progress. Some are already stereotyped and biased, so no matter what you do, they give you attitude.
They don't see the good in
they
anything.
don't want to, because of the few individuals who are into drugs and any other kind of crime, because it is not only Nigerians that are into the drugs, even the locals are involved. Tanzania, and name it, different nationalities, Somalia, Pakistani, they are all into this.
Ms. Doris, to be honest, this drug issue is actually all over the world. It's not just...
It is.
It's a problem all over the world, you know. So if I'm to ask you, what is the most profitable business or job suitable to Nigerian foreigners here in South Africa? I mean, by your experience, what advice would you give us?
Unfortunately, unemployment is a big problem.
Exactly.
And is a global problem. It is not peculiar to South Africa.
Yes.
And unfortunately also South Africa economy is nosediving. So people in the business sector, they are packing up. And there is this, would I call it, brain drain in South Africa. A lot of foreigners are leaving the borders of South Africa seeking for greener pastures just because of the hostility in the environment, the xenophobic tendencies of the locals, and the discrimination that is faced at workplace. So for that reason, many people are not willing now to expand or grow their businesses here in South Africa. So now trying to encourage someone to go into business, it's a bit dicey, except the person is certain, because firstly, your security is not guaranteed. Secondly, when there is a strike in place, there is the looting of the shops, destruction of property, and sometimes there is a lot of injuries and near-death experience. Even deaths, lives have been lost. You have cases of people who are stabbed, stoned, and all sorts of, wickedness is meted out on them. People's properties are destroyed. I'm also a victim of such. My shop in Blood, yes, when there was an attack in town, and unfortunately this was not done by a Nigerian, but it was assumed it was a Tanzanian who stabbed a South African when they came to confront him about the issue of drugs. So the next thing, they started going to all foreign shops, looting, and then they set it ablaze. I was a victim of that. So, and in other cases too, you have a whole garage of cars burnt down in flames just because of that anger that is residing in an average South African, believing that the foreigner is here to take away what belongs to them. And that is a very wrong notion that needs to be corrected by the South African government.
Very true. So what are the things we can do as foreigners now to have a better relationship with the South African citizens? I mean, what can we do that is going to make them see us as people that,
Firstly, you can see that a lot of our Nigerian men have married South Africans, have children with South Africans, and taking care. You see that when a Nigerian man enters into the life of an average South African, her life transforms. Firstly, the beauty shows. Even the futures that were not conspicuous begins to glow. The children come into place. They set up, some of them even send their wives to school. I can count a number of them. They send them to nursing school. They've sent them to learn a trade. Those who are in business, they learn how to open up a salon or a shop. Make sure that they're economically empowered. This is one, because now you are getting into the community. They go home when it's Christmas or holiday. They travel home with them. But unfortunately, some of them face discrimination even within the family. So I believe that if people are educated and reorientated, that being a foreigner is not a disease, is not a crime. There's nothing with migration, because the average local South African who has not traveled outside the borders of South Africa feels that a foreigner is infringing on their rights and taking what belongs to them. No. Even migration started from the Bible. Of all old.
Very true.
When God said to Abraham, leave, I want to send you to a place. You leave your father and mother. I want to send you to a land with sugar and honey. So it is just a way of life. And there are a lot of South Africans that I even encounter when I travel. Outside of South Africa, they are a new and different entity, homely, caring, and hospitable. So it is just a thing of the mindset. For those who haven't traveled, they don't understand. So I believe that those who have interacted with foreign nationals and giving them time, instead of judging them before they even get close, they should give a chance to a foreigner and get to know them as individuals. Stop the bias, stop the stereotyping. Not every Nigerian is criminal.
True.
Not every Tanzania is criminal. Not every Zimbabwe is criminal. So when you don't generalize, it becomes a problem. But I know that others who have come close, I have very close friends, Zimkita. She calls me her sister. She is a South African, and I have never regretted one day. She's always at my beck and call and always there when I do things.
That's beautiful. But you know, Miss Doris, there are so many Nigerians like stranded here and suffering a lot. Like, what is the union doing to solve such problems for them?
Stranded in what sense?
Like stranded in the country, they don't know how to live, and some of them are actually suffering. And I won't say this is the union's fault, you know, but most of them don't even know, you know. But how can the union help solve that problem?
A number of issues have been brought to my attention, especially since I became the president. I would cite an instance of a lady who was infected with a terminal illness, and she tried to get support from the community, but that was not enough. So when the information got to me, we approached the mission, both of them, the High Commission as well as the consulate, because now she needed to go home, and she had twin daughters that were very young, 7 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So we wrote a letter seeking for support for this lady to be repatriated and to ensure that her children also get home safely to be reunited, because unfortunately she lost her husband during COVID. So she was alone here with the children, no family members. So she was only living at the beck and call and at the support of the citizens. So at some point she wanted to go home. So when we have cases, when people approach us and say this is our problem, as a union, we don't have financial substance to give to you as an individual. Remember, this is just an organization that is funded, you know, by ourselves. So we really don't have a lot of money, but we are a representative of the people. So we take your problem to the mission, to the rights quarter, and ensure that you get help where necessary, because that is the responsibility of the consulate. They need to look after those that are delinquent or those that have been stranded or having one problem or the other.
Oh wow, that's nice. So do you think it will ever get to a stage in life where Nigerians in diaspora would be able to vote via the evote, and I mean, like, via this evote and all that?
Diaspora voting.
Do you think we would ever get to that stage?
Well, nothing is impossible, even though at this stage, talking about Nigeria brings tears and pain, brings tears to my eyes and pain to my heart, because Nigeria's situation is getting worse and the hope is fading away. I don't want to say that I believe in the current government of Nigeria. I would be lying if I say that. Look at the Naira. Ever since I was born, I have never seen Naira depreciate to the point that there is now a comparison between Naira and Zimbabwe dollars. It is the greatest slap, and it's very unfortunate. So on the aspect of diaspora voting, well, let's hope that Abike Dabiri, as the chairman of the diaspora committee, will be able to push this, because it has been on the pipeline and on the table for years now, and we are not seeing anything actually coming out of it, because they know that the diaspora will actually vote the right persons there. But the powers to be, or the powers that exist, do not want this. And it's because of the Western influence. You and I know this, that these Western powers are ensuring that there is instability, there is war, there is a lot terrorism, and all forms of criminalities in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole, as a continent, just to ensure they continue to feed on our natural resources. I must say that some Africans now are beginning to take some bold steps to take back their country. So I want to speak to the youths. Wake up! We were told then that we are the leaders of tomorrow. Most of us now are grandpa and grandma, and we are still waiting to be leaders. So I'm hoping that this new generation, we know they call themselves Sorosoke, but NSAS happened once and their silence is just pathetic.
It is, I agree. Most South Africans here, most of them accuse Nigerians of drugs. But the truth right now is so many Nigerians are actually addicts. Here in South Africa, I have a friend that actually left South Africa and traveled back to Nigeria straight to Yaba. Directly straight to Yaba. I don't know what the union can do to help in such situation, because it's becoming too much. People don't say this, but they say they sell, but I'm telling you, because I'm outside, a lot of Nigerians are facing drug addictions right now. And how can the union help in such situation?
It's unfortunate that people know that this is wrong and they choose, because in life you have choice to make good or bad decision. So if you left the borders of Nigeria to come here to hustle for greener pasture, and you choose the way of drugs to destroy yourself and your future, it's unfortunate. But for those that we know that they need help, especially if they are young ones, either by hook or by chance, they become addicted. Even the South African government provide rehab centers for those that are below the age of 18. Okay. So they can be admitted free of charge to such rehab centers once they are identified. So they go there and they go through such programs. But for those who are already adults, 18 and above, they have to take responsibility for the financial implication. So if someone is an addict and is left destitute, what happens is that if our attention is brought to such case, we try to reach out to the family members of such an individual within and back at home and arrange for treatment if it can still be remedied, or direct repatriation home.
Wow. Yes. I hope you guys are listening. Just go and register, become a member of the union. There are so many benefits, I'm telling you. So Mama, I want us to deviate from the union a bit. I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you watched this TB Joshua's documentary on TV, the recent one that was, accused and then all of this thing. So and I think there are some South Africans that are affected too, And right now, what we heard is that South Africa has removed his channel from the DSTV, whatever. On YouTube they don't play whatever in his church again, all because of a 45 minutes documentary. So what do you think? What do you think about that?
When it comes to religious issues, I'm very careful in delving into that because it's one of the major things that divide us as a people.
True.
And people are entitled to choose their religion. Hence, I don't judge people based on their religion. They are free to practice whatever style they think they can communicate in the spiritual realm. When it comes to TB Joshua, I don't know TB Joshua personally. And from a young age, when I've heard about TB Joshua, there has been a lot of controversy about him. But my personal opinion then was that if someone is bringing succor somehow to the people, and there are people who can prove that he has affected their life positively, especially on the aspect of supporting students, offering scholarship, and such students eventually graduate and begin to contribute to the economy, help their families, reaching out to widows and all of that, because we see all of that on TV. So it becomes very, very, controversial to see now people saying bad things after his death. So it's I don't understand what they're trying to achieve, because when you judge a man when he's not there to defend himself, it's injustice from my opinion and perspective. Because if he has a case, you're supposed to bring it there and give him room to defend himself. So this should have come up while he was still here, so he can talk about it and defend his actions. So I don't want to be a judge of man, especially someone who is no longer here with us. So I would like to abstain from that.
Yeah, I agree with you, and to be honest, I'm not in support of assault and all of that, but I'm also against these Western powers. I mean, how can you just judge a man by 45 minutes documentary? I don't think that's nice. I don't think that's nice at all. So that's the reason why even this last election in Nigeria, I don't like it. And the reason is because since this last election now, tribalism is on the rise.
True.
It is becoming too much right now. And it wasn't like that before. That's why I say I don't like this last election. But what do you think? How do you think we can I mean, this tribalism issue, what do you think we can do amongst ourselves as youths to end all of this?
Every time I have to talk about this, I like to make a reference to NSAS.
Yeah, please do.
NSAS was one of these move that was going to bring the change to the Nigerian politics. Unfortunately, we are a people that are very sensitive when it comes to our religion, and even when the tribal cards are played, people forget their level of education, their exposure, and they become overly sensitive and try to overlook the most important factors that hold us together as a people. Before you are Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Edo, we are first human beings, secondly Africans and Nigerians. So I saw in NSAS this unification beyond our tribe, beyond our religion. There was no practical leader. There was cooperation, there was agreement, there was a unity. I could see what happened on the ground of protest. But ultimately, the powers that be, some people will always betray. They look at the weak ones, those greedy ones there. They pull them out by their conscience, and those people will not give out information and destroy the good thing that is happening. Maybe if there is another NSAS, then Nigeria will have hope again.
I think they've debunked some whatever about the NSAS. I mean, because it's more like a political I mean, a political whatever, but I'm not going to go into that. So I want to ask you, is there any new development right now going on in the union that you need to, I mean, to announce and just, to let us know? Because I want to make sure this interview gets to at least 80% of Nigerians here in South Africa, because there are so many benefits of being a member of this union, and I'm telling you, most people don't know.
There's so much on board, especially 2024.
Okay.
Myself and my team, executive cabinets, kudos to them, we are working hard to roll out the programs for 2024.
Okay.
Already we have started making some moves from last year. After our Congress, we had our Congress at Southern Sun in Pretoria, and the turnout was very impressive. We had delegates from across the provinces who attended the event, and they were very excited once again that there is some movement and activities going on in the union. So we have a program that is going to help an average Nigerian resident here in South Africa. As long as you have a valid Nigerian passport, you are going to benefit from such program. We also want to ensure that for every Nigerian that is registered as a member of the union will have the ID card of the Nigerian Union, and that ID card will entitle you to a number of benefits. So that will disclose details when such a member registers. We will make known to them. But like I said, NUSA, Nigerian Union South Africa, is the apex organization, an umbrella body of Nigerians resident in South Africa. So if you want an umbrella to protect you from the harsh weather here in South Africa, you need to be a part of the union. Union is home away from home. Union stands up for you in the face of injustice, intimidation, harassment, any form of discrimination. The union will arise and stand for you.
Wow, that's beautiful. I want to tell you a story, concerning this xenophobia and xenophobic attack that happened a couple of years ago. I don't know if you were aware. So there's this Nigerian guy, I think he traveled for, I don't know if he's a Malanga or whatever, to see his friend. So after seeing his friend was actually escorting him home with his daughter. So his friend was here, the daughter was in the middle, and the other guy was on the side, and they were both holding the girl and just taking a walk, trying to escort that guy. All of a sudden, there are these women just came out, like South African women, and then they started yelling, speaking their language, that these are kidnappers, these are kidnappers, these are kidnappers. And then at the end of the day, they moved these guys and they killed them. I'm telling you the truth, they actually killed those guys. I don't know, maybe you heard the story here in South Africa.
No.
Wow.
When was this? I
think it's a couple of years ago. And you might not hear, because I think it's all those township inside, somewhere, I don't know, but when I heard the story as well, it was really shocking too. But in instances, situations like that, how do you think such guys would have, been able to help themselves in such situation?
Oh, this is when life is lost. It's very, very sad. Very sad. Did the child survive?
Yes, definitely, because it was because of the child. They thought they were kidnappers, and then just because of the language barrier, we don't really know. And then they started shouting. All of a sudden, those mob came outside and they killed those guys, which is really, really is a tragedy.
This is a serious tragedy. I'm not aware of such instance, but if the information came to the union, immediately we will swing into action by first going to the police to get help and support. Secondly, open a case against the culprits, because they are very wrong to take law into their hands. Even if they suspect those guys as kidnappers, they were supposed to get them arrested, ensure that the police take them into custody, and then they are charged to court, where they are tried and prosecuted if found guilty. That is the ideal process. And this is what we keep preaching when we move from province to province, talking to the police chiefs, letting them understand, although those ones most times try to protect the SAPS and say we give them the ideal training, but some do what is right and others choose to do the wrong things. So we always ensure. So in such a case, if maybe by chance such individuals happen to call an emergency number, reach out to any member of the union, we mobilize to try and get help and intervention on time to rescue such people. You understand?
That's amazing. Would you give me permission for me to put the website of the union?
Definitely.
So that
people can reach out to us.
Register.
Yes. And can also visit our Facebook page to make comments, bring advice, talk about issues that we need to look at. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So I don't want to waste much of your time, but I want to go back to you being a footballer when you were. So, do you think if Nigeria plays South Africa, who do you think will win?
I support my team.
Allow me. Do you watch are you watching the AFCON right about now?
Unfortunately, some of the times, you see, my phone doesn't rest. I'm committed to service. So sometimes when I'm willing to go, I'm most times at the police station sorting out one problem or the other.
Wow.
But I'm a lover of soccer. Like I said, I played soccer myself. The 1994 during Kanu Anko and Okocha Anko, I was in love with soccer. So my father too played soccer, although he was a production. In fact, my family is a family of sports people. My sister, my brother, there is no female or male. We played each other. I played table tennis. My father loved sports. And not strangely, my children are also taking after that. So they are all in sports. They're doing athletics and different sports. Even my daughter actually is an athlete, currently on a scholarship.
So you're saying Nigeria is going to win?
Yeah, I'm having hopes. That's the only thing that gives us hope now. Because every other thing about Nigeria, the dollar makes me sick. The dollar rates. Yeah.
Okay, Mama, we're about to round up now, but I want to ask you, because I know Nigerians will be watching right now. Like, does the union have any bank where we can come and loan money or something?
Union is not a financial institution. We don't loan money to people.
Okay.
Yeah, but what we can do is that we can, how would I say, motivate a process. If you have maybe a good business plan, and we can approach the banks, we can make referrals. You understand, where you can get support. Because we are actually having some negotiation with some financial institution on behalf of Nigerians to ensure that they can have access to some of these services. That's why I would say there's so much we are going to, 2024, just watch out. There's so much things that you stand to benefit just by being a member of the union.
Wow. Thank you very much, Ma. I really appreciate your presence here today, and I'll make sure that this interview goes far and wide. I don't want to waste so much of time. That's what I'm saying. Thank you very much for coming to the show. And Nigerians, did you hear what she said? You have to go to the website right now and go and register, because there are so many benefits, including myself. I will go and be a member. That's all for today. Please, I want you guys to share, like, and comment. And if you have any question, you can just put it on the comment section. Thank you very much, Miss Doris. I really appreciate your presence here today. And that's it for today, guys. Please make sure you share, you like, and if you have any question you want to ask, please put it in the comment section. That's it for today. God bless.